Okay, cool. I think we can go ahead and get started then. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining. This is our first live tech demo of 2023, where we bring to you the ElectroNeek platform. We're going to showcase a little bit of what the platform is capable of, all of its features, and so on. Yeah, so a quick intro from my side. I'm Thiago Carlucci, head of marketing for global campaigns. We will have a live tech demo with Aaron, our sales engineer, and then a Q&A session at the end. Okay, so again, your speakers for today, it's myself and Aaron is our key guy today, our sales engineer that will showcase our platform to all of you. All right. So without further ado, Aaron, you can go ahead and share your screen and take it away.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, perfect. Thank you, Thiago, for the introduction there. Everybody should be able to see my screen now.
Yes,
should be so awesome. Perfect. So yeah, so this so our platform kind of essentially consists of the three main hubs. So we have our automation hub, which includes kind of the tools to build, deploy, and launch your automation projects. We have our service hub, so that includes features and support related features for such as our support and help center, as well as our community forums. And lastly, we have our business hub. So that includes assets to help boost your RPA business. So as you can see here, we're displaying I'm viewing our My ElectroNeek home portal. So this is where you'll be able to access all the different modules of our platform. You'll also be able to access to our downloads. So for Studio Pro, as well as our bot runner applications, you'll be able to download those for here. You'll also be able to access our orchestrator. So this is our cloud-based management tool. Additionally, this is where all your account information is going to be stored. You also have the ability to manage your team members, set access levels, change roles, and invite new users and more through our portal. So now that we've given kind of a high-level overview of our portal, let's go a little bit deeper into our automation hub. So our automation hub consists of kind of four main modules. So we have our Studio Pro. So this is where you'd be able to, again, it's our low-code development environment. This is where you'd be able to build and manage or build and develop your workflow bots. We'll then have our bot runner. So this is the application required to run an ElectroNeek bot. You also have access to our orchestrator, which is our cloud-based management tool. And lastly, which is a new feature we just recently released, is our recipes. So these are pre-made bots and tutorials to help you kind of guide you in your development. So that being said, let's take a deeper dive into our Studio Pro application. So I'm just going to bring it up here. So this is our Studio Pro application. Again, this is our low-code development environment. So this is where you're going to build and test your various workflow bots. In the middle, we have our canvas. So this is where you'll be able to drag and drop activities from the left-hand side menu here to begin building your workflows here. So it's very simple to kind of build those workflows using the drag and drop interface. So on the left-hand side, as I alluded to, this is where we have the various activities. So these activities are grouped into their kind of just common kind of groups. Under the general tab here, we have under the logic group, we have different activities related to working with or doing different logic. So we have if-then statements, do-while loops. You'll be able to assign values to variables, create subprograms, as well as open up applications. Under human in the loop, so these are different activities involving getting a user to interact. So you'll be able to get input from a user, display notifications, as well as allow them to select files and folders. Under the GUI or GUI automation, so these are different activities related to working with desktop applications. So you'll be able to interact with the mouse as well as the keyboard through the different activities. You'll be able to do different UI elements. So you'll be able to get information, set values, as well as wait and check to see if different elements are found. As well, we have different activities related to working with the app windows. So you'll be able to maximize, minimize windows, be able to close windows as well. Excuse me. And lastly, under machine vision, so these are different ways to interact with a desktop application using images or screenshots. Under OS automation, so these are different activities related to working with the operating system. So this includes working with the files and folders, getting different credentials that have been set up in Studio Pro. Also, you can read and write from the clipboard, and different system activities related to working with the command prompt and different processes, as well as shutting down a computer. Now under Microsoft Office, so these are different activities working with different Microsoft Office programs. So that includes Word, Excel, Outlook, as well as Office 365 for different email providers. Under web automation, so these are different activities related to working with websites and browsers. So you'd be able to open up a URL, execute JavaScript, as well as scrape structured data. You'll be able to interact with the mouse as well as the keyboard. And lastly, under UI, so again, these are different activities related to getting and setting properties and values, as well as waiting for different elements to be found. Under Citrix and RDP, so these are different activities related to working with Citrix and our remote desktop terminals. So you'd be able to interact with those terminals through here and then use some of the other different activities to interact with once you're inside that terminal or remote desktop. Under programming, so these are activities related to different programming activities. So that includes executing JavaScript code, executing Python. You'll be able to do different activities to manipulate strings, so be able to check to see if the string is found or extract text, as well as working with dates and times, so different kind of helper activities to kind of get the current date, calculate a date, export to a specific format, and so on. You also have the ability to make API calls. So if you need to send information as part of a workflow or get information as part of a workflow and it needs to come from an API, you'll be able to make those calls with this. As well, you have the opportunity to connect to a database as well as execute queries on that database. Now under email, so these are different activities working with email. So of course, as we showed before, we have different ones for Outlook and Office 365, but we also have different activities that'll work with other email providers such as Gmail. Under spreadsheets, so these are different activities related to working with spreadsheets. So you'd be able to read different table information as well as work with Google Sheets. Under document processing, so these are activities related to the processing of documents. So we have different OCR engines that are available, including Microsoft Cloud, Google Cloud, as well as Abby Cloud OCR. Additionally, you have the ability to create a recognition template. We also have different data extraction for access to different OCRs here. So you'd be able to use those depending on the requirements. And in the PDF, so this is where we have different activities related to working with PDF. So you'd be able to read text from a PDF, convert it to an image, which allows you then to run it through an OCR. Also be able to combine multiple files into a single PDF file. And lastly, in our activities here, we have connectors to Google Drive, so you'd be able to manage files through Google Drive. Next to the Activities tab here, we have our Elements tab. So this is where we have different various desktop, browser, as well as terminal elements that may have set up that the different activities can use. So these would be specific elements on a page or an application. Under Projects, so this is just a overview of the files in the particular project. If we switch over to the right-hand side here, so we have our Properties and our Variables tab. So under the Properties tab, so this is where you'll be able to configure the various activities. So for example, here to read text for a PDF, I just need to pass it the path to that particular PDF file. Additionally, one thing that's really great is we also have a link that goes directly to our knowledge base. So if you need more information about this particular activity or have some questions that might need to be answered through the documentation, you can click this link here and it'll take you right to our knowledge base. Now, if we go over to the Variables tab, so this is where you'll be able to see various variables that have been configured and set up. It will then, once the bot is run, you'll be able to view the contents of those variables through here as well. Now, in the bottom middle here, we have our console. So this is where you'll be able to see various execution logs, including any debug or error logs that you may have set up. Now, to run a workflow, I simply need to just click the green play button at the top here. As well under the file menu. So we have the usual kind of options available here. Some of the more unique ones that I like to highlight is we have our export to Neeks. So this allows you to export this workflow to an actual file, which can then be run independently of Studio Pro as long as you have the bot runner application installed. Additionally, we have the publish to orchestrator, so you'll be able to publish directly from this Studio Pro to the orchestrator that you may have connected. Now under settings, we have a number of different settings that can be configured. So as you can see here, you have the ability to add different login and passwords to here. Now, one thing about this in terms of security is that this information is not stored in Studio Pro, it's not stored in the bot, and it's not stored in Bot Runner itself. It's read from the Windows Credential Manager. So once you add the login and password, it gets saved to the environment you're in and stayed and secured in that environment, as opposed to saving it as part of the code or the information that we pass. You also have the ability to set up different services, so it includes Google, Microsoft, as well as Abby OCR. We do support different browsers, so here you'd be able to choose which browser you would want to display by default. So we support Chrome, Edge, as well as Internet Explorer. You also can set up different Microsoft activities. So specifically here with Excel, if you're running a workflow that doesn't, in an environment that doesn't have Excel installed, you'd be able to use a more generic interaction mode. And that allows you to still do different Excel activities at a fairly, more of a limited scale for Excel. You also have the opportunity to set up a proxy if that's required, similar to certificates. We have a number of different settings related to working with the execution of the bot through Studio Pro. So different options here related to auto logging, the display status, as well as different debug settings. And lastly, in interface, you have the opportunity to change the language. So we support a number of different languages here. As well, we have two different themes, light and dark. So that's kind of an overview of the Studio Pro. What I'd like to now do is kind of just show you a quick demo of a bot that I've got displayed here. This one just displays some of the different document processing techniques. So basically, we're going to have a PDF file that is an invoice, and then we're going to extract some of the data and information from that invoice and just display it in a user notification at the end here. So at first, we'll kind of read the text from that PDF file. So this read text activity is great if you need to, or if the PDF that you have contains mostly text, it'll extract that into a string value. Otherwise, if you want to run it through OCR, you need to convert that PDF to an image file, which is what we're doing here. Then we're going to run it through Microsoft Cloud OCR. And then once we have that data, we're going to then use a recognition template to basically pick certain information, specific information in more of a template fashion, and then display that information to the user. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and run this workflow and we'll kind of see the results. So when the workflow is running, you do have this status window here. Kind of gives you a step-by-step breakdown of what's currently happening, as well as a time frame, as well as the opportunity to stop it if something happens. So that being said, we have our user notifications. So it extracted that information from the PDF file, and then now we're displaying it here in a user notification. Of course, in a regular workflow, you may put that information into a CRM or some other sort of accounting software. But for this purpose, we're just going to display it as a user notification. So as you can see here in our console, the bot started and finished, and gives you a little bit of indication of some of the execution time as well. So that was just a quick demonstration of the bot. From here, let's kind of switch over to a quick overview of our Bot Runner application. So I'm going to bring that up now. So as I mentioned before, the Bot Runner application is the application required to run an ElectroNeek bot. So this is what needs to be installed in the client environment, either on a physical machine or virtual machine. But it is what's needed to run the particular bot. In terms of licensing, there are no restrictions on the licensing. So one of the great things that if you need to deploy a bot into 100 different client environments, you'd be able to install the Bot Runner in those environments without hitting any licensing restrictions or fees or extra fees as well. So. Now, similar to how Studio Pro is set up, you also have the ability to connect this Bot Runner to the orchestrator, which we'll go over in detail next. But you'll be able to set up the orchestrator. Here you'll be able to define, the particular bot runner name. So by default, it'll just grab the particular computer name, but you'll be able to define that here depending on where it's being maybe installed in the client environment. Now, similar to Studio Pro, you can set up credentials here that the different activities will use. These will be specific to the environment you're installing in. So not necessarily what you used in Studio Pro, but what makes sense for the particular environment. Same as services, you'd be able to set those up. Similarly, same as web browsers, so you'd be able to choose a default web browser, as well as set up a proxy, include any certificates, a few different settings for execution. And lastly, you'll be able to choose the theme. And of course, down here, you can choose, same as Studio Pro, choose a different language that you like to use. So that was an overview of the bot runner. Next, we'll take a little bit more deep dive into our orchestrator. So orchestrator is accessible through our portal here. So it is a cloud-based management software or tool. So initially when it's displayed, you're kind of presented with the dashboard. So this gives you a high-level overview, kind of what's happening in this particular orchestrator instance. You do have the opportunity to, if you do have multiple instances of orchestrator, you'll be able to navigate through the top menu here and change those instances. Next, if we go into our workflows tab here, so this is where you'd be able to see the different workflow bots that have been deployed to this particular orchestrator instance. So this gives you a high-level overview as well as some action items on the side here to execute a bot or kind of gather the logs. If we click into our workflow here, you'll be able to give a little more information, as well as be able to set up a few different things. So here you'll be able to see the name and description, which orchestrator it's been deployed to, the number of bot runners. So you can deploy a workflow to multiple bot runners. It also gives you an idea of what the next launch time, as well as schedule time. It gives you a high-level overview or status indicator as to what's currently happening with this particular bot. So right now, this bot is ready to go at any time. You have the opportunity to send email alerts on failure. So if something goes wrong, you can set different users as well as emails into this field here to be notified, hey, there was an issue. You also have the opportunity to set up a webhook link. So this way you'll be able to execute a bot through an HTTP request. You also have the opportunity to collect different execution logs. So you'll be able to collect execution or console logging through here. As well, you'd be able to select the bot runner. So through here, you'd be able to select a specific bot runner that's been assigned to this workflow. And then through the Run Now button, of course, run the bot through this interface. Now under the Run History tab, so this is basically you see a history of all the executions for this particular bot. As well, you do have the opportunity to view the various logs through the action menu here. So if you click on the green icon here, we're basically given access to the logs that were collected through here, and you can, of course, save it to a file if need be. So under the Assign Bot Runner, so this is where you'd be able to assign different bot runners that you have connected to this orchestrator instance to be assigned to this particular workflow. So if we click the Configure Bot Runners here, we're given a list of the various bot runners that have been assigned, and then we'll be able to select multiple ones through this interface. If we go over to the Schedules tab, so this is where you'd be able to see various schedules that may have been set up. You can set up multiple schedules as well. To set up a new schedule, you simply just need to click the Schedule button, select if it's a repeatable or one-time run. We do support a number of different date time options here. As well, you have the opportunity to set up restrictions. So say, for example, you wanted the bot to only run on a Monday to Friday, and you would be able to come in here and restrict Saturday and Sunday as those days. So that's an overview of the Workflows tab of our orchestrator. Next, if we go over to our Bot Runners tab, so this is where we'd be able to manage the various bot runner instances to this particular orchestrator. So as you can see here, we have a list of not approved bots as well as approved bot runners. Now, to connect a bot runner application to this particular orchestrator, it is done through a token management system. So if we click Tokens tab here, we'll be able to display the various tokens that have been configured or set up previously. As well, we have the opportunity through the Generate Access token button here to generate a new token. So you'll give it a token name, click generate, and then take that generated token into the bot runner, include it into the login information. And then once it's connected on the bot runner, it will then just be displayed under the not approved list here. So this gives you the opportunity to validate and make sure that, yes, I want this bot runner connected to this particular orchestrator instance. And then once approved, of course, it'll display down in the bottom menu here. So here in the approved section, you'd be able to also remove it. So if the bot runner is no longer being used or no longer needed, you'd be able to remove it from this orchestrator instance as well. So if we switch over to our integrations tab, so we have a number of different integrations that are available. We have integration with Zapier, which we recently just were approved for a full partner status or full kind of app connector status. So that's exciting. So it does allow you to access kind of more than 1,000 different applications through the Zapier integration. So you'd be able to integrate your ElectroNeek box with different applications through there. Additionally, we have our own API. So this API is specific to the orchestrator. So this allows you to first make different HTTP or API calls to kind of do different calls, similar to actions that you would through the workflows and bot runners tab, but through API calls. So you'd be able to manage your bot runners, execute and manage different workflows, as well as launch those workflows through an API. We go down to the settings. So the only setting that we have for orchestrator at the moment is just to change the name. So here's you'll be able to give it a different name if you have multiple instances of an orchestrator. And lastly, under multi-tenancy, so this is where you'll be able to connect to multiple orchestrators together. So if you have multiple teams, you'll be able to give access and then as well as gain access to different instances of orchestrator as well through this interface. All right, so that kind of wraps up the overview of the orchestrator. Next, we'll take a look at our recipes. So our recipes here are it's a brand new feature that we've recently just released. Here you'll be able to kind of follow along some kind of pre-made recipes or bots that we've kind of developed. As well, you have the opportunity to give different kind of tutorials and information. So for example, here with our sales enablement use case, kind of gives you an overview of the particular workflow description and any prerequisites needed. We also have a bot run demo, so you'll be able to see a video of the actual bot running. And we also have a step-by-step. So here you'll be able to, this is essentially the tutorial where you'll be able to follow along and build the bot as well. And lastly, we have a video that's also enabled here, so you'll be able to watch the bot being built through the video as well. Now, in addition to the actual information on the website here, the recipe, we do have the opportunity to be able to download the bot as well as download any supporting files needed to run the bot. So we have quite a large number of different recipes that are available, as well that can be filtered and sorted through the interface here. So we have different use cases and how-to documents available through here, as well you'll be able to search through here. So that kind of wraps up our automation hub. So the kind of the four key main modules of our automation hub. So next we'll kind of go into our service hub. So as I mentioned or alluded to initially, our service hub is where you'll be able to find all our support related features, such as our support and help center, as well as our community forum. So it's designed to help our clients quickly come on board, as well as get all the help and services they need to be successful. So our first item is our support center. So our support center is where you'll be able to create, manage, and monitor tickets for incidents, help requests, feature requests. Now, to create a ticket, it's simple to just click the Create a Ticket button. Here, you'll be able to give it the ticket type of ticket it's for, which product it's for, as well as a subject and description. You'll be able to add users to follow along this ticket as well. And additionally, you'll be able to attach files if it needs. Now, in addition to the kind of the product issue question as feature request, we also have the ability to request development support. Now, development support's a little bit different than just a regular product issue or question. Development support is, let's say, for example, you're working on a project and you face challenges that you're not quite sure how to overcome. Through here, you'll be able to request development support, and then our development consultants will be able to assist you in a more technical, specialized level to be able to overcome those challenges. Additionally, if you're starting a new project and you're not too sure how to start it or how to begin, you'll be able to get information and more technical support through their development support. Now, you also have the ability to request help for enterprise bids. So if you're doing an enterprise bid for a client, you'll be able to submit that document to us, and we'll be able to go over it and provide feedback and support. And lastly, through our support center, you'll be able to request information and ask any questions related to penetration tests and security. So if you or your clients have information or need more information related to security, we'll be able to submit that ticket through our support center. Okay. Now, so that's an overview of our support center. If we go look at our help center. So our help center is our extensive knowledge base. So this is where we have all our documentation related to getting started. We have our release notes as well as API documentation. Now they are set up or split into different hubs. So we have kind of all our documentation related to our business hub here. We have all the documentation related to our automation hub, so it includes how to use Studio Pro, Bot Runner, Orchestrator, as well as I mentioned before when we were going over Studio Pro, you do have access to our ability, or each activity has its own documentation, so you'll be able to access it through here as well. As well, through our service hub, you'll be able to access the support center as well as our community forum. So the last kind of module of our service hub would be our community forum. So our community forum is where we'd be able to interact and participate with the entire ElectroNeek community. So this is where you'd be able to search for existing topics as well as create any new topics. Now our forum is actively monitored. So as opposed to some forums where they rely on the community to provide answers, we are actively monitoring it. So you not only will be able to get answers from the community, but you'll be able to get answers from us as well. So typically you can usually expect to receive a response within a day for any new post. So that wraps up the kind of the three main modules of our service hub. Next, we'll go a little more in depth into our business hub. So our business hub, as I said before, is where you have different assets to help boost your RPA business. So this includes where you can reserve a spot in one of our boot camps. You have the ability to request new licensing for reselling to your clients, as well as access to our campus and wiki. So let's take a closer look at some of these items. So under boot camps, so this is where you'd be able to reserve your seat for one of our boot camps. So we have our kind of three main boot camps here. We have our executive boot camps, which are 90-minute group training sessions that cover the latest trends and topics in the automation market. We have our go-to-market strategy sync. So this is a 2.5-hour deep dive with our automation experts focused around sales and marketing. And lastly, we have our product or our platform roadmap call. So this is, again, is a 2.5-hour call that details our future roadmap and product features. As well, for each of these different boot camps, you do have the ability to submit questions that can be reviewed as for those boot camps. Now, if we go into the reselling module here, so this is where you'd be able to request a new license for reselling for Studio Pro or Orchestrator, which you can then resell to your clients. As well, you do have an opportunity to request a trial for those different applications for a 14-day trial through here as well. Next, if we go over to our campus, so this is where you'd be able to find courses and certifications, not only on how to use the product, but also courses on different journeys. So we have courses related to a marketing journey, an executive journey, a sales journey. So we have different information and courses available through there. They also interact directly with our wiki. So our wiki contains basically all the pre-made blueprints and templates that go along with those different marketing or those different journeys. So again, this is where you'll be able to find that documentation that's referenced as part of the courses. So for example, we have different templates for a sales deck, as well as different case books, as well as templates for different sales items, as well as templates for different executive journeys as well. So that wraps up our business hub and also kind of brings everything to a close. So we've gone over kind of the three main hubs and kind of took in a little bit of a deep dive in there. So I'll hand things back over to Thiago, and we can kind of go over any questions that may have come up.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Aaron. So I actually have a question here from one of our participants. Is there a limit to the number of bots that can be created or developed?
There are no limits. So that's one of the beauty thing about our platform is that there are no limits. So we don't charge you for per bot or per instance or per execution. So if you need to build 1,000 different bots, then you're free to build 1,000 different bots. So yeah, there's no limitations or restrictions on that.
Okay, awesome. A second question that we have here is, can legacy applications be automated using the ElectroNeek platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the kind of another benefit of our platform is the ability to work with those legacy applications. So oftentimes they won't have their own integrations, or they won't work with some of the newer APIs. So you'll be able to use some of the different desktop application and automation tools to kind of automate those legacy applications.
Awesome. And then third and last question, can a workflow call another workflow?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So there is a notion of being able to call a subprogram. So we have a subprogram activity. You'd be able to develop that workflow as another file, and then be able to reference that file as part of the workflow, and then share different information between there.
Awesome. Sounds good. I'm going to leave here this screen with the QR code so that everybody can scan that. This will take you to a Calendly where you can book a meeting with one of our account executives for a more customized discussion, case by case. So go ahead and scan that and make sure that you book this meeting today so that our reps can help you understand what we can do and how we can better serve you for your automation business. Okay. So take a couple of seconds to scan that QR code, make sure you fill out the form and schedule that meeting. I don't see any other questions here on the Q&A or the chat. So Aaron, thank you so much. Really appreciate your presentation, and we'll give you guys some time back in your day. Thank you very much, everybody.
I think I just saw a chat or a question pop up on the chat.
Okay, awesome. Let's look at it. Are there any limitations that only certain applications it will be applicable?
Nope, I haven't. From my personal experience, I haven't found any limitations. It's there in terms of limitations. Yeah, it's just like any sort of software or programming. There's multiple ways to do it. So if it doesn't work one way, it's that there's probably going to be 2 or 3 other ways that'll kind of work, or you'll be able to get the same sort of functionality. So yeah, there shouldn't be any limitations that I'm aware of or that I've come across.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. I see another one on the chat, Citrix or RDP coverage. Yep.
So we do have activities that'll work with Citrix terminals and remote desktop terminals. So you'll be able to execute those. I believe we even have some recipes and tutorials on that as well. So we do have information on how to use that as a sample use case. But yeah, we do have support for those.
Okay, awesome. All right. So if we don't have any more questions, appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Definitely. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Aaron. Bye.